sector that is likely to be impacted the most by 50% tariff announcement that came in last night is India's gems and jewellery sector. Bilateral trade between India and US stands at about 132 billion US dollars and gems and jewellery trade stands at about 12 billion US dollars. US, remember, is one of the biggest markets for India's gems and jewellery industry. So how is the industry reacting to this news, and are exports viable now at the 50% tariff mark? To discuss exactly this, we are now joined by Mr. Nitin Kedia, National Secretary at All India Jewellers and Goldsmith Federation, or AIJGF. Mr. Kedia, good afternoon and thanks so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. Last time when Donald Trump said that he will be levying additional penalties, probably Street expected that some kind of announcement could come through. But now that the final figure has been fixed at 50%, how is the industry reacting to this news?
Good afternoon, Ashisha. Thanks for bringing me here. First of all, the industry is asking the Trump, "Kya hua tera wada?" Because when ceasefire was announced by Trump between India and Pakistan, it was mentioned that he will be having a better trade deal, and our industry was very confident that this time we are going to get something better. But I think we have gone more worse. And if I talk only about the jewelry, which is the HSN code 7113, the total export to US is around $3.5 and overall export is somewhere around 11 to 12 billion dollar. So out of that, we are expecting 30 to 40% downfall. When 25% tariff was imposed, now we are expecting that it may go below 60%. That means we can have somewhere around 4 billion or 5 billion of total jewelry exports going to US.
How much percentage of total exports goes to the United States, if you can break it down for us? Which countries do we export to and how much of that goes to US?
See, if I talk about the India exposure to US, it is about the 30%. 28% goes to UAE, 11 to 12% goes to Hong Kong, and rest of the world is 30%. So the major concentration is into the three players, which is US, Dubai, and Hong Kong. Combined is around 58 and 12. It's around 70%.
Understood. So, but then US is still a major market. So then is the industry other sources and other avenues in order to compensate for the fall in sales in US?
See, already we have a FTA from UAE and recently we have signed a FTA from UK. Apart from that, AIJGF is working closely with GJEPC on how we can compensate this loss towards the other countries with small jewelers or small karigars. And for that, the GJPC has brought the scheme in which they are helping them about the export knowledge, export licenses, plus the courier part, and there are some training also which are given regarding the training and everything. So we are pretty hopeful that maybe we will have a short-term jerks because of this US thing. But in the long term, it will be a good for us. And Ashisha, we are confident that on 25th August, when US delegation is coming to India to discuss about the trade, definitely our industry is going to get something.
Clearly, everyone is pinning in on those expectations that perhaps some positive news could come in on the 25th of August in the next round of negotiations. But at least for the time being, have you as an industry body made a representation to the government on any kind of support that you probably expect from the government sides?
The government is already working on that. I think they have seen the heat. That's why they went above and signed the FTA deal with the UK. Some other FTA deals are in the process. And I think the government has already done many things for the industry. So at this point of time, we are planning the strategy in which, with a minimum support of rebates or tax rebates from the government, we can compensate the exports which may get dent from the US.
Okay, and which subcategory is likely to be impacted the most, Mr. Kedia, on account of this? Will it be studded jewelry, lab-grown diamonds, polished diamonds? Which category is impacted the most?
I think the gems and diamonds are going to get impacted the most. If I talk about the jewelry is about 35% of the total gems and jewelry export, which happens to US. And that 35%, if it falls down by 34%, 30 or 40%, it will get compensated from other countries. But I'm more worried about the diamond and the gems part.
Okay, so several segments likely to be impacted the most on the back of this news. But Mr. Kedia, if you can tell us, how is domestic demand shaping up? And after the spike in gold prices that we have seen on a year-to-date basis, I believe gold prices have risen nearly 25% YTD. Has demand been impacted on account of that? And what are the latest trends emerging in terms of demand in the domestic market?
See, let's go back to the quarter four of last year. It was somewhere around, if I talk about the jewelry demand, it was 188 tons in India, domestic demand. First quarter, it was 71 ton, and the second quarter, it was 88 ton. Definitely, it was 50% down in second quarter. But if I talk about quarter on quarter basis, then in second quarter, it was up by somewhere around 20% or 15%, despite of higher prices from first quarter. So the customers, they have accepted the price, this 1 lakh or 1 lakh 2,000. But the thing is that historically, this quarter, July, August, and September, this is a weak quarter in terms of demand from in jewelry from the retail side. On the wholesale side, we see that demand grow up during this period because from October the festival season gets started. So people they stock a lot of jewelry in their shops. So there's a wholesale demand which is picking up at this point of a time, but retail demand has totally dried up. And from last year, what we are witnessing, it is somewhere around down by 50 or 60%.
Retail demand has declined by nearly 50 to 60% on a year-on-year basis because of the spike in gold prices. But I understand that July, August, and September are lean periods when it comes to retail demand. But what's the outlook when it comes to the upcoming festive and wedding season? Are you expecting a big jump up, and what are your expectations both in volume terms and value terms for the industry?
We are very confident about the demand in the fourth quarter. The reason is that we'll be having a festival season, and apart from them, after 4 months, marriage season will start in November. So we'll be having a double bonanza during that period. So we expect that somewhere last year we had 188 ton demand in the fourth quarter. So this year we may have somewhere around 165 to 170 ton demand coming due to high prices in the fourth quarter. But in value terms, definitely we'll see somewhere around 7 to 8% additional.
Mr. Kedia, also wanted your thoughts on the rural economy and the kind of demand trends we are seeing in rural India, especially because monsoon is expected to be strong and above normal this time around. Is demand from rural India picking up this time?
As of now, we've not seen early signs of the demand that is coming up from the rural India. And the reason is very simple that in rural India, people are very sensitive about the prices. The most important thing that we are seeing is that reverse selling is not coming, that people are not coming to sell the gold and they don't want to encash the prices because the people now have believed that gold prices are going to rise. So maybe probably if we have some 5-7% correction in the prices around 97 or 98,000, then we'll see the upsurge coming more from rural India than from urban India. And at this point of a time, we are praying that let 97, 98,000 be a price during the fourth quarter. So we may at least meet last year demand of the jewelry season.
Understood. And you also told us that retail demand continues to be on the weaker side. But Mr. Kedia, if you can tell us, what about investment demand within a retail demand segment? Is investment demand on the higher side because of the kind of returns that we have seen in the last 2 to 3 years?
Investment demand is there, and if we check it year on year basis, it is somewhere around 7% increase that we have seen in the investment demand. But if we compare it with the rest of the world, whether it is a China, whether it is a Europe, or some other regions, the demand is quite slow in India. Like in China, it is about 44% up. In some parts of Europe, it is up by 150%. So outside of the India, the investment demand is growing in double digit or 3 digit. But in India, still we are trying to chase the double digit growth in investment demand. And maybe the reason that 3-4 years back or from COVID, we were seeing a huge demand coming from the investment side.
Okay, so that's as far as investment demand is concerned. But if you can tell us, what is the general expectation from the customers that you're meeting on ground? Are they expecting prices to fall and hence delaying their purchase, or they're expecting prices to remain stable at least for the next few months?
What we have seen the people, those who have marriage in their home in November or December, they are quite tensed at this point of a time, and they are not able to decide what they should do, whether they should purchase the jewelry at this point of a time or they should wait till November. So what we have suggested to our jewelers to bring a flexible pricing scheme for their customers. So what can happen is that, let's say in November, if price declines, so customer can get the lower price, or if the price goes above, then at current price they can pay the payment and take the jewelry. So we are working on that kind of a scheme in which we can which small jewelers can offer a flexible pricing.
Yes. So several schemes that the industry is working on to push gold demand, at least in the near future. Mr. Kedia, thank you so much for taking your time out and helping us understand what the impact of additional 25% tariff be on the entire gems and jewelry industry, and what the demand trends in the domestic market are looking like. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ashisha.